Green Bay is a small town, only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together: the Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast. We are back, and this is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience. I'm Sanjay, and alongside me, like always, is Matt right over here. And we are
good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
We are live here, brought to you by Game On Wisconsin in our home studios. And once again, the Green Bay Packers have a loss in the column of the win-loss column, and you know what? It's starting to feel a little sad, even though nothing doesn't matter for the preseason.
It's
but
preseason.
It's
Who
still,
cares?
I hate seeing the L's,
Of course.
fly the L. But anyway, a beautiful weekend. It was great stuff. We had good weather. Obviously the Packer game was really good. I mean, obviously they had good weather there. Some controversy somewhat in the stadium, but we'll get to all that for the show. But everybody, thank you so much for checking in our show. Obviously, I see you guys all kind of flowing in as we are talking. We appreciate everybody that comes and follows us on this show. We don't have Fred today.
How'd you know it's Fred? How'd you know it's Fred?
Yeah, right. So yeah, we don't have Fred today. He's got some obligations on his end with some things. So he actually will not be here for the next 2 weeks because he has another football game for his kid again on next Monday. So it'll be 2 weeks of just the original squad right here, the OG, me and Matt. So it'll be
Fred's pulling an Aaron Rodgers. He's taking his off season. He's enjoying things.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
I don't know. He might go to Hawaii, and then when the games start to count,
yeah, exactly.
You'll see,
he'll be here
back
for the regular season. He doesn't need to practice. He doesn't need to play in the preseason games, and that's why you have the two of us.
There you go. We'll keep you occupied in the meantime.
Break down all the useless crap that we think is important about the Green Bay Packers. So Matt, let's just get right into it. We have the Green Bay Packers playing the New York Jets. But actually, you know what? Hang on.
Rewind it.
Let's take it back. Let's get to some breaking news actually, because some things happened in the last few hours that we were kind of like, damn. Okay, not few hours, but basically today's news. And that is two guys on the out of the Green Bay Packers that I probably didn't think that were going to be out. And there's a lot of, potential. Hey, what's up, Alex? Potential, maybe rumors, or I don't even know what it would be considered, but a lot of people are like, why? And maybe there has to be a reason because of, these two names. But Kadar Holman was traded now, this is pretty more recent, to the Texans, actually. Did we say what the compensation was? Was it for a 7th?
I don't know. I don't know how the math works out, but basically we're getting back the pick the Bears sent to the Texans for something or other. So
for Anthony Miller, right? Yeah, something like that.
That's it. Yeah.
So we're getting that one. And then the other big news is Kamal Martin,
yeah.
The 5th round draft choice of the 2020 NFL draft. The inside linebacker that couldn't really stay healthy all the time, but made some flashes, had a lot of speed from the sideline to sideline as a backer. He has been cut actually before any of the other guys that I thought would probably be cut way before him. And so that left a lot of rumbles on the Twitter verse, and just to kind of think of a few things. did he do something? Did he, as you maybe quoted, did he blank someone else's wife to get himself cut? Because I mean, let's just be honest. Like a lot of the times, especially Brian Gutekunst, he loves to stick with his guys that he drafted at least a couple years, maybe 3 years, because look, that's the reason you draft and you develop, right? That's how we are built up into the Ron Wolf system. So that is a kind of a question that we are all asking ourselves, like, why was he cut? So yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Well, that's why it's so weird is that the Packers don't really move on from the draft picks that quick. They have, shown tremendous patience with far worse players, keeping them around for multiple years to let them go ahead and develop. The Kamal Martin seems to be a bit divisive. Like, I get people not necessarily a biggest fan of him right now. He was, kind of injured last year, hasn't had a great summer, but he showed some flashes last summer as a rookie that led him into some serious playing time before he got hurt, and that was kind of too bad because he had a really nice trajectory. So I thought with given the state of that position, that's not like inside linebackers. Like, well, we have, a couple of bona fide, starters there. It's a lot of guys who we like, but we really haven't seen, meaningful game time yet. So I was surprised by that move, considering he was a draft pick, and even Holman, another draft pick there. And by no means is the cornerback position secured. So I'm really intrigued to see what maybe the underlying story was, if there is one, because I don't know if it's purely play based. I mean, again, this is such an uncharacteristic thing for the Packers to do, to move on from two of their own guys that they just recently drafted. So it's a bit head scratching to me.
Well, let's put this into perspective. Let's keep it to the field, right? So maybe Joe Barry's in. These aren't technically his kind of guys of his scheme. Maybe they didn't fit the scheme. Maybe they do believe a guy like Ento or some of these other cornerbacks that are kind of starting to show a little bit more, I guess, rise in the ranks. Same thing with the inside linebacker. The inside one is a little confusing to me, because what else you got there? Unless they are super excited by what Oren Burks is doing, on the field.
Well, he was outside looking in before, and now they've flipped.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe this was the perfect scheme for Oren Burks, that now he's being utilized a little bit better. Maybe he just figured it out, because he looks a lot faster on that field.
He does. I wonder if it's also driven by special teams play. I mean, the Pack, we'll probably talk about the shows how god awful that unit has been, the last, I don't know how many years, and they didn't look any better. I know it was a bunch of, second and third stringers. They didn't look any better on Saturday against the Jets. So I know Martin's been struggling out there. And if, the Packers, if you can't contribute on special teams and that's kind of your main role, they're going to find somebody else to do it. So I do wonder if, Martin was, seeing rotation as the fifth or sixth inside linebacker. Okay, well, if he's not, making some plays or at least doing his job on special teams, I guess what's the use for him? Same thing for Coleman. But even with that, I'm still just surprised that they would move on from both so quick to not see it out.
Strauss, if you could be so kind and let us know about our depth chart of the cornerback position and the linebacker position, because I know it, but it's like I kind of don't know it. So you know what? It's us. That's why we have Strauss. Big shout out to Strauss. He's with us today. He's been all over the place, in the offseason. But so now he's here with us. He's got his nice little mustache going. He's killing it right now. So I hope he's smiling. There he is. All right. So let's move into the game then, because obviously those are some big moves. And from whatever you saw, because I know you were like checking in on us to see if we're watching the game, as if I was like,
where are these guys?
As if I would miss a Packer game. It was a little hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Kurt Benkert obviously has shown that, look, this guy's got a little bit of zip. He's got a little flair to him, that, kind of gets you a little razzle dazzle, like kind of like basically the Taysom Hill, of a few years ago, that you're kind of like, oh man, this guy might, like cheer the crowd up a little bit, and then,
right.
Keelan Hill has been stealing the show a little bit in the sense of like, okay, this guy, whenever he gets the ball, he's starting to kind of like, make a push for 10 yards, sometimes even 12 yards. Obviously got the 12-yard run, but it was a little bit of it was nice to see AJ Dillon kind of get going right away. I remember, I think before he left, I think he had like 48 yards of scrimmage. I think it was something like that nature in the first quarter, I think. So that's kind of nice. Granted, it is against, that was their number ones out there, was it not? Against the Jets, because they had Mosley out there. They had that Jared Davis, So it wasn't like they go ahead.
Well, the Jets had they had a few of their starters in there, so it wasn't like the Packers, the offense they trotted out there to start didn't go against necessarily the Jets scrubs right away, which makes kind of impressive what they did in the first half.
Yeah, so I mean, and I'm going to throw this question at you. Like, as far as I think the things that we were looking for into this week on our predictions was A, the O-line play, and then B, protection for the quarterbacks. Obviously, special teams is always going to be at the top of our list because it's so trash. But O-line play, how did you like it as far as in this game?
Much better. I mean, the running game looked much improved. I mean, I know they only had AJ Dillon out there for one series, but as you already pointed, he was able to amass 48 total yards. I think it was 30-ish from the ground on a couple of carries. So he looked good. Kylan Hill, I mean, he we'll talk about him as the show goes, man. He's really impressed me. He's got that burst to get around the edge. He scored on two of those kind of end around type plays. I think last week was actually a screen pass, but either way, he's shown some flashes. But to go back to the O-line, that was one of the big things we called out last week on the show was we need to see some improvement there because you have guys playing, in these games that are going to be vying for some of these open positions. Guys like Yosh, is it Yosh or Yash?
Yeah,
Nijman, he's been looking good.
People are telling me it's Josh. I'm like, it's clearly not Josh. It literally looks like a Y at the front of his name. So don't tell me it's Josh. If it is, well, damn it. I mean, maybe I should just name my kid Yosh and call him Josh.
And the other guy, Royce Newman, who looks like he may have just grabbed that right guard spot from Lucas Patrick, who didn't fare very well at center when Myers came out. So I think if anything, you found out that you do have some of these rookie players that are going to step up and play some meaningful time this year. And I think you solved the issue at center. It's Myers' job now, and going forward, now you just want to see that O-line kind of settle in and get some consistency. I really want to know what they look like with David Bakhtiari. That's kind of the big thing. Obviously, he's the best left tackle in football, and he makes that offensive line what they are. So I'm interested to see if he's able to get back here for week one. But I left that game feeling a lot better about the O-line than I did in the first preseason game.
Yeah, I think the O-line, obviously, especially with when Dillon was in, let's just be honest, that's kind of the unit that we're all, very, concerned about because there's a possibility we might be starting two rookies in the inside of our interior, possibly even even a second-year guy as one of the other guards. Because depending on when Bakhtiari comes back, you're looking at Elton probably at left tackle. You're probably looking at Turner at the right tackle position, or maybe he might be pushed inside, and maybe we might see Dennis Kelly play right
Dennis
tackle.
Kelly, yep.
I don't know. I mean, the guard position is as big of a question mark as possible, which is kind of scary, honestly, because you got guys like Donald, and you got Sue, and you got all these interior, like the 49ers interior. I mean, there's some good interiors that are going to be coming after Aaron Rodgers or even the run game, and there's a lot of inexperience and youth in that line. So hopefully these reps, these these longer drives that we've been kind of even able to string along a little bit can really boast their experience and just boast their knowledge of the system and what they need to do on their jobs.
Well, and look at the job they did, not just in the run blocking, but in the pass blocking. I mean, yes. Kurt Benkert was able to have the game he had because he was, had a clean pocket for the most part. And even when he had to roll out, they bought him enough time to get the pass off. So I'm pretty excited about what they're able to do. And to kind of segue into Benkert here, I think the Packers stumbled onto something here, in terms of QB3. It's a good position to be in when you have to talk about that spot is something serious. But I don't know if he becomes trade bait. I don't think at this point maybe you won't be able to slip him on the practice squad, but he's been a really nice surprise. And the guy, by the way, if you don't follow him on social media, has completely embraced the Green Bay area and fans. I think on the 4th of July, he went and hung out with somebody in town. He said, hey, anybody grilling out or whatever, and went and did it. So super cool guy, it appears, fitting in really well with the locker room.
So we just got our message in from Strauss. So as far as the cornerback position room, and we'll come back to the game. So you obviously have Jair and Kevin King and Eric Stokes. So they're the big three that everybody knows of. But then it's really just Isaac Yiadom, and we just got rid of Kadar Holman, and then there's Kabion Ento. So
wow.
If you think about it, we just lost one of them, and then obviously Chandon Sullivan would be one of the other ones that would technically be on there. I think we would have to put him on the list, but that's a lot of faith in Ento, and oh yeah, did you put Sully on there? No, did you? I didn't. You didn't have him on there. Anyway, so
But he was
yes, I mean,
expendable. They have enough guys.
right. Well, that's the thing. But do they though? Like that's the thing. Like
Well,
I-
maybe
I'm
not.
just- that's what I'm saying. Like Isaac got him. He's just kind of like, okay, well, he's been a journeyman now. He hasn't been able to stick on a team even after being drafted, not just like a year and a half ago. So like, I think this is a little bit of a concern in the sense of if
Do they add
anybody
somebody?
goes down. I mean, that's the thing.
That's what I wonder.
Here's where that Fred comes along, and maybe you bring in that vet, like I'm not gonna say Sherman because I feel like that's just gonna get
But a
lot
vet.
of people.
Cut
But
time's
a vet,
coming.
yeah, exactly. Cut times are coming. Obviously, there could be some bigger names that maybe the scouts and maybe the the front office people are hearing that. Hey, there's some disgruntled corner. Maybe there's a guy that's just not panning out. Maybe there's a guy.
Well-
I mean, how many times did we hear about something like the Jaguars rookie from last year that they don't like, or this guy? Like, there's always some names that are like, whoa,
Yeah.
wait, he was cut. So
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, they didn't immediately replace him, or it wasn't like a player swap, or anything. So I think that that potential's there. It also speaks volumes to what they think about Eric Stokes and how much time he's going to play this
Right.
year. I mean, he really is going to. If he's not starting, he's going to get starter like reps. So, I obviously a lot rests on Kevin King because he's going to be the second wave of defense there. So. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me at all if they went out and ended up adding a vet if somebody got cut last second that made sense.
Right. And that's the thing to me too. Like, I think the fact is, I think they're trying to make the second starting position Eric Stokes is to lose. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
has there been a vote of confidence from Jerry Gray on his own guys, like specifically Kevin King? Sure. They gotta they have to do that. Even Matt LaFleur, like, there's coaches speak, right? Like, hey, he's he does do a good job when he's in there. Like, let's be honest, he doesn't do a great job all the time. Like, consistency is the thing that I look for, not like every so often where he gets that, great play of a leap of an interception, and then he's looking like a great corner. I'm talking about inside the 20s, guy that's just giving up constant yards, constant catches, or can't make any tackles because he's going in like a harpoon, torpedo kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just
think
don't know.
he would be better if he didn't play 10 yards off the ball, if he wasn't taking that risk all the time. That was always my complaint about Kevin King. Like, what are you doing? Like, get up on the ball or at least get closer. It's 3rd and 3, not 3rd and 15.
Yes, and thank you, Iowa Joe. And we completely forgot the entire, like, the guy that we just drafted this
Shamar.
year. Shamar Jean Charles. And maybe that's the thing. Like, obviously, when you draft someone like that, which is why this is such a confusing, like, cut/trade, is that these guys are still guys that they just drafted. So is it purely based on scheme and guys that maybe like Joe Barry just couldn't work with, or just, didn't, pan up? Because I remember Iowa Joe just said earlier too, that even Kamal Martin was even tried at outside linebacker. And if he couldn't even make it out there as well, there's just not a roster spot available for him. And if he's not killing it in the special teams,
exactly.
Peace.
That's probably a huge part of it right there.
Right. So let's get back to the game real quick. I mean, quarterback position, we don't really need to talk about as far as Benkert's, productivity, because let's be honest, the whole reason we were watching games was because of Jordan Love potential and his potential and his rise. But, I think we have to probably at least talk about, these wide receivers a little bit and these tight ends, because there's a little conversation I want to have with you that's kind of stirring around the old Packer verse, and we're going to talk about it today as well. But you and I have been kind of on this boat, and Fred now too, that I think because we didn't see what's his name last night, on Saturday. We didn't see Funches. So clearly they figured out that, look, this guy already has shown enough. So I think you may get your darling pick here.
Well, didn't he get banged up?
He did, but I feel like I think they probably even knew, like, look, if he wasn't, because I'm sure he was trying to say that he's probably good enough to play. Like, he probably wants to get out there to say, like, oh, look, I can still, hack it. And then they're probably like, look, man, you gave us enough last week. I think we see what you're doing in practice. And obviously in that last game, maybe they're like, let's just, no matter what, I think they're always good about injuries. They're always going to keep a guy kind of like, pretty like lock and key as far as injuries concerned. But I think you got to say that he's probably going to make it. I don't know. Where's EQ? Is he hurt? Like, does he never get any kind of reps in preseason? I'm so confused about this.
Yeah, he hasn't really. I don't think he's been really featured
I've
much.
not seen him out there. So I mean, unless he's out there and he just doesn't get looked at, I think this guy's just officially just gone.
Well, and Malik Taylor is had a great game. He looked pretty good, and Banker kind of zoomed in on him. I mean, Todd could come in and play receiver. I know he wants to play cornerback, but maybe they can keep 8 receivers and they can sneak Todd in there. I mean,
hey, maybe you could find a jersey then. There's your jersey.
I'm looking for a jersey. So Todd, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it comes down to how many are they going to keep? Like, it's going to be 6 or 7. Like, what are they going to do? I don't know. What's the right call? I think there's so many guys that you're intrigued by that you want to keep 7, but it's not an offense that you necessarily are going like 4 and 5 wide a lot.
It's
maybe
not McCarthy's anymore. Yeah,
no, it's not.
So
it's a battle of like, do you want to really give another roster spot to that position versus letting a guy who's pretty talented out the door? I don't know. I mean, I think people have been saying it on social media. It's very true. The addition of Randall Cobb is going to basically jettison somebody at some position it's probably pretty good that they normally maybe not have gotten rid of. So Cobb, you better be old Cobb. You better be old Cobb.
Hey, you're dusting off all those cobwebs off that jersey that you.
I did. I went and found it. So, it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on these wide receivers, but the reason I'm bringing up this position or this position as well as the tight end position is because we have guys really not under contract going in the future at both of these skill positions. And that's a little scary because we've obviously seen and heard of how well MVS has been doing in camp. He's literally catching everything. He probably has like maybe 1 or 2 drops all camp, which is impressive, but at the same time, it is camp. So, I mean, I don't know how much, he's really getting challenged at the number 2 spot, but, nonetheless, you still got to catch the ball. That's your job. So, the biggest thing is Adams. I mean, we are all we were so worried about Aaron Rodgers even coming back to the team. Well, he's back. Now we're like, well, Davante Adams, will he even want to come back? Because he clearly doesn't want to give a discount. He wants to be the number 1 paid receiver.
Yeah.
Brian Gutekunst kind of threw a jab saying his number about what's the highest is a little different from what ours is. And that's a little bit of an issue, but usually those guys are able to work it out, especially Russ Ball and what he can do to manipulate the cap. But the thing is, let's just play devil's advocate here and just understand that what if we don't have him, right? What if we don't have him? And let's just say we have MVS as your other guy who needs to be re-signed, and you have, Alan Lazard, and then you have what after that? I mean, you have Cobb, and then you have technically the new guy, Amari Rodgers.
I think this argument is aided by like the mystery around Davante Adams. If you knew he was going to resign and be here, maybe you wouldn't keep an extra guy, but because you almost nobody under contract, like firmly next year, you need to have guys, you need to have options in the case that Davante Adams isn't here. They move on from him. I guess the only way they move on from him is if they don't tag him and trade him or somehow, or just let him walk, which I can't see.
No.
But I in the back of my head, like I'm choosing to operate that they're going to bring him back. But I mean, that's also, again, why I think they should keep more receivers in the event he doesn't, because you need to keep that cupboard stocked, not just for departing Aaron Rodgers, whether it's this year or next year, but also for Jordan Love. You don't want him to come in and have absolutely nobody to throw to, and you lose your 2 or 3 top receivers in a year or two. I don't think that should be an option either.
Well, let's just be honest. I mean, if we're trading Aaron Rodgers at the end of the next year, I think we're going to be getting a couple first-round picks. We'll probably get maybe a Henry Ruggs or maybe like a CD Lamb, or not CD Lamb, but like a Jerry Jeudy. Maybe I don't know. Like, wherever he goes, I mean, we might be getting some kind of piece back, but I mean, could be that possibility that we use one of those first-round picks on a really big stud receiver in the draft coming up. But yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, the biggest thing is, do you sign an MVS now where he could potentially be cheap, and before he goes and runs rampant on the league and and ends up being like one of those really awesome duos with 17, or do you try to just bite the bullet here and just say, look, we're all in on Davante Adams coming back. We'll see what happens. If MVS kills it, yeah, his price tag might go up, but we are all in on Davante because we need the stud. And MVS is nice, but he is I mean, I don't want to call him a one-trick pony because what I'm hearing in camp is like he's trying to be like a 2 or 3,
Well,
step pony. But like, go ahead.
he's. I would try to bring him back. I mean, I think he does maybe have a specific kind of skill set. He's not like a
But
route
it's all about
technician like
when,
Adams.
right? It's
Right.
when you're
And so
bringing it. Like, are you coming now, or are
exactly.
you going to pay him at the end of the year when he gets like 12 touchdowns?
I would do it now, but he's not going to be your number one receiver. You need to have a guy who's like an Adams. So they still need to make Adams the priority. But yeah, you try to bring, MVS back on maybe a cheaper deal than he would be at the end of the year if he explodes and has a huge year. Obviously, you hope for that no matter what, because they could use some more bona fide receivers there. But I don't know. I'm intrigued by him. I've come around. Like I've had my shots at him and frustrations, like everybody has. But from all indications, is he's really taken a step. This offseason and summer, and he sounds like he's poised to have a breakout year. So I'm really excited for him, and I do hope they keep him around.
All right, with the last 5 minutes before our break, let's talk about our tight end position, because that's another position where we literally have one guy that could have another big year, and he needs to get paid at the same time with an aging Mercedes Lewis, who you really don't know what you're going to get from him as far as productivity. I know you're getting a good locker room guy, a good captain, a good leader, and a good, friend for Aaron Rodgers, but also, and a good blocker, let's just be honest. But then you have a Dominic Daphne, who's obviously a good special teams guy. He's made some plays in the league, when he's given the chance. Chase Sternberger had a nice touchdown this weekend, but obviously he does have his little issue going forward in the season with his 2-game ban. So I don't know if he's in like some sort of slight doghouse in the sense of like, look, dude, you kind of screwed up. We're going to punish you for this. So I don't know if there's something there, but they obviously had high hopes for him because they've kept him this long. And then really it's just bottom feeders after that too. Where do you see the Tunyon thing? Because do you sign him now where it's dirt cheap and hope that he, plays really well based on getting him at a good value, or do you wait on him as well and just say, look, let's see if we can get one more year out of this guy, because let's hope it's because I've always been saying it's the scheme that's just opening this guy wide open, but I get it. I'm slightly wrong here because he is making these catches, but go ahead.
Exactly. He catches the ball, which is to me the big thing. So I'm in favor of re-signing Tunyon, and I think that you can get him back at a decent rate. I don't think you have to blow the bank out on him. Obviously Lewis is back on a year-to-year basis. I would assume this is probably his last year here, but then like you said, after that, it's a lot of unknown potential, but unknown. DeGuara's coming back, before he was out on injury last year, man, he looked really good and interesting, and they're kind of using him in a way we were kind of hoping they would, as an H-back. Daphne, I liked him. He had a couple of nice catches for touchdowns last year. And then the two, Kafusi, who Rodgers calls out that he likes. So that adds, more confusion to the whole thing. And then you have Jace Sternberg. What do you do with Jace? He had a nice touchdown grab from Benkert this past weekend against the Jets, but he's been up and down. And how much more do you want to see from him before maybe you make a move? I don't know. But they have a lot of guys who you're like, yeah, if he just grabbed the hold of it and did it, he's got the potential. But it's like kind of everybody after Tunyon, excluding Mercedes, because he's there because he's basically another offensive lineman. You want to see someone make that move. So block up Bob before he's expensive, or maybe just get him on more of a smaller prove-it deal. But this is really all eyes on that position, because you can go any which way, and I don't know how many they're going to keep. I mean, someone's going to get unlucky.
Well, or they do this, or they do what every fan's probably going to hate me for saying this. They go all in this year with the roster that they have, and if it doesn't work, you trade Devontae, you get something for him. You trade Rodgers, you get something from him. You let MVS walk, you let Tunyon walk, you let all these other players walk, and you just start from scratch. You just play with the money that you can finally get yourself out of this hole, because we're broke.
They may have to. The cap situation sounds really bad next year.
I was just saying, man, like, it's as much as I love this team and as much as I think this is a winning team, we were supposed to win it last year and we didn't. So I don't know what we're supposed to do this year and potentially have for the next few years, because we got nothing in the bank. So we'll see how that kind of shakes out, in the years, or sorry, not years to come, but the months to come, because we'll see if they actually pull the trigger on some of these deals. But when we come back, we will break down more of the Packers, because obviously they have one more of these things to go. and we'll see what we can kind of come up with predictions as well. Maybe you get a little bit of a breaking polar plunge here, maybe potentially. We'll see how Strauss is doing on his end. But yeah, we will be right back, so don't go anywhere. This is the Freezer Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's your Lombardi's Bar Boys here, telling you to tune in Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, here on the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel. We're going to talk about how the Packers beat the crap out of the Jets, or maybe they lost. We don't know yet.
We can see if the offensive line bounced back, or if they continue to suck.
Yeah, I mean, since we're recording this technically last week from when you're seeing it, it could be any time. But one thing is for certain, we can talk about how bad J.K. Scott was. Tune in Wednesday, 8:30, 7:30 Central.
What a great transition.
I was just gonna say we can use that.
Like it was. I can't. Thank you, Lombardi's Bar. Check them out. Obviously, they are a great trio of podcasters, or I guess show hosts, just like we are, and they basically set it up on a tee for us to. Todd, I mean, thank you. That was beautiful. We will be talking about J.K. Scott, because why not talk about punting? Because there's nothing really else to talk about when it comes to preseason football. But yes, thank you, Todd. We appreciate it a lot.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Go ahead. Yeah, I feel like this is your little baby here that you want
to
go. Vent on.
Gotta go.
Go ahead. Release.
Gotta go.
Release
gotta
the
go.
Kraken.
I don't have much to say as a punter, but it's like, he's been inconsistent, for a couple of years. He bombs a couple in summer.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Or Saturday.
He's good when the weather's nice, but when you start dropping 20-yard punts when the weather's nice, then we may need to find somebody else. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe the J.K. Scott experiment has run its course. I think people are a little kind of tired of the shtick, and he's not killing it. So. As Todd says, you could just never punt. I mean, why not? Just go for it every single time. Screw it. Try to score 50 points, 50 burgers. But I don't know, man. I'm sort of over J.K. Scott. And I mean, how many times have we had punters, man, that can't just pin guys back? I mean, it's such a crucial part of the game, this special teams. Like, I'm waiting for them to be not a detractor.
It is mind-boggling. Listen to this, Matt. All right? Just hear me out on this. It is mind-boggling that this organization, probably the winningest organization of all of the NFL, that has the trophy, that has the guy that coached at your team on it. All right. And they've drafted multiple Hall of Famers, 2 generational quarterbacks, multiple receivers, multiple linemen, multiple corners. Okay. Maybe not corners, but definitely linebackers. And yet, they can't get one position correct at all, ever. I mean, the last time they had one, they let him go. Okay, I think it was Ryan?
John Ryan.
Great, John Ryan. Thank you. They let him go. I don't care what you guys say. I didn't like Mastay. Don't even try to defend him.
He was okay. He wasn't bad.
He was okay for like a year. No, I'm not. I'm going to throw him with the rest of the trash. You have not been able to just secure a punt. I mean, look at Mason Crosby's been here for basically 2 decades. How come you can't find a punter to do that?
They've killed it with kickers. They've killed it with kickers. I'll say that. But I don't know, punter. There's not a lot of quality ones we're finding out. There's a handful of good ones.
Because there's only like 3 or 4 of them that go into the draft. So you have your and it's not like everybody punts or not punts, but picks a punter in the draft. So you literally have all of them to pick from. Pick one. And you always pick the wrong one because I don't know. When the Seahawks got the guy from Australia, whatever his name was, the guy that kind of they picked JK right before him. He's better than him. I don't even know his name, but I know he's better because I've seen him. So I'm just go ahead.
We're all sick of it. We want a punter that can flip the field. There's no excuse for 20-yard punts. There just isn't at all.
I don't care how high this kid can lift up his leg over his head. And the fact that he doesn't need to jump. Fucking jump all you want when you punt. I don't care.
Doesn't
matter.
Get me
someone that can punt the ball down the field and not give away field position. You know what I'm saying? God, I can't believe we just talked about punting that much. I really don't.
If you're talking about it, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Usually.
I know. All right. So we have your thoughts as far any lasting thoughts as far as the Jets game is concerned. I mean, there was a whole lot of news lines, Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur, all that stuff, whippity doo. But we got one thing to talk about. Actually, I forgot to mention this, and now we can bring it up now because it's obviously away from the stat stuff and the players. But Mr. LaFleur had a little comment the other day. Sorry, it's yesterday, right? Technically. And some of the fans didn't take it too kindly, but some of us, realistic people and intelligent people that understand how the game works and how the stadium works, understand what he was talking about, make kind of sense. They made a lot of sense, actually. So, Matt, your thoughts on the comments made and then the rebuttal from a lot of Packer fans around the world.
Well, if you don't know what the comments were, it was basically that, he'd rather not hear the Go Pack Go chant or see the wave when the offense is on the field. And quite frankly, I'm a little miffed why this is such a divisive topic. Like it's basically pitted people who are like, well, you should be able to have fun at the game and just do whatever you want versus people like you need just to be hardcore, cheering when you're only supposed to. It's like, it's neither. It's in between. To me, it's like when you go to a game, like you can influence the game. It's the whole point. You go to watch it because you can interact with the game. You can affect it. And one of it is giving your offense, silence when they're operating on offense. And it's like, look at last year when there's nobody in the stadiums, Aaron Rodgers obliterated the league. It's like, so you just like, this not even a thing. It's like, you just sit down and shut up when they're on offense. I don't want to hear anything other than the cadence on the field. That's how quiet it should be. And then when it's the defense, get off your seat and yell when it's third down. I mean, come on. So many times people are not getting loud on third down defense. That's the difference. But it's like, I'm sorry, it's not that black and white. It's very gray. It's not, well, people are yelling at me. Well, what, you should enjoy yourself. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I've gone to games for years. I have enjoy a blast, but I'm also not a moron, and I do my part. So it's like I just do that, and we're good. Why it's a debate, I don't know.
I just love because some guy had to get into it with you, and it's like, oh, you picked the wrong topic to get in.
He told me my tweet was the worst tweet he ever saw, and I was like, well, then you clearly just joined Twitter this morning if that's the dumbest tweet you ever saw. Website's full of them.
I just don't understand it, man. And the wave, like, I know there's some people maybe in here that do like it for their kids, that they can stand up and feel like they're part of a big cheer, which, okay. But
the common argument though is the gold package, and I'll excuse it to a degree. And in the preseason, I get it every couple of months. Milwaukee invades, or twice a year they come up here.
Now
those Brewer fans, who go in the stadium in the fourth inning, it's whatever. But I don't know. It's obviously the gold package. That's who I'm going to blame. It's not the green package is great. We never do that stuff ever. Just the vets there.
You're throwing a lot of shade at probably some people here that are gold package.
The gold package is fine, but I mean, let's be honest, it does get a little bit quieter when that goes on. And
they're the worst.
By the way, the stadium was like 50% empty. Did you see that? Yeah. Well, no coincidence, it's the gold package, so I get it.
That's what I'm saying. It's the worst. I don't care if you're a gold package season ticket holder.
Yeah.
You're the worst because you think that you can just come up late. You think you don't even have to go at all. You can sell it because you're too lazy to drive 2 hours to go to the game. You don't deserve the damn tickets. I'm telling you this right now.
Give it back
gold
to us.
Package people. That's why when I have my green package, I have to surrender 2 games because I have to feel the need to give it to gold package people.
Which ones did they get this year? They get good games.
I don't know, honestly. You know what?
The whole other topic.
Yeah, people are gonna hate on me. Fine, you know what?
But
enjoy.
The point is, like Iowa Joe said, it's a home field advantage, and you, as a fan, when you go, you play a part in that. So I don't think we're asking too much to not do the wave or chant "Go Pack Go" when the Packers are off. It's not that big of an ask. It just isn't.
You know what? You know what's funny about the wave? I don't even see it done at the powerhouse high school football game, let alone professional stadiums.
I don't even do it anymore. I just sit in my seat and then raise my hand as they go by. It's like, hey, all right, great.
I do this. I cater to the, I'm not going to call them idiots, but I cater to the people because I'm cool. I don't want to look like a complete asshole. But in the end, it's got to go. Honestly, I mean, it's just I really hope they can get someone on on the PA to say stop.
I don't even want him to do that because I don't want there to be like video footage of like Bill Jarts having to lecture the crowd on what to do during golf games. Can you imagine the videos? Oh, look how stupid Packer fans are. They have to be told not to cheer when their offenses on the field. It's like, oh God, we don't need that. We don't need that.
Hey, might as well. We've had such a silly offseason and a silly year. We've botched things with our MVP quarterback twice in our lifetime that we might as well get ragged on for an entire year. For God's sake, if the Houston Astros can get ragged on for cheating and for a whole
just blame it on just being drunk. The whole crowd, it's Green Bay, whatever. They're all drunk. They don't know what's going on anyways.
Exactly.
We have the stats to prove that.
All right. Well, when we come back, we'll take a little venture into the next week game of we got one more of these. Matt will break down why he thinks the Green Bay Packers will win this game. And so yeah, that's what you're gonna do, right? That's kind of
you gonna tell me that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Okay, so don't go anywhere. This is the Green Bay Packers.
This is the Green Bay Packers.
We're not even the Green Bay Packers. All right, we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? It is your boys from Lombardi's Bar, Dan the bartender, Todd, Jimmy. We are here to let you know that we have the first ever Game On Wisconsin party coming to you live at the Green Bay Distillery, September 19th. Put it on your calendars now.
September 19th? Is this my birthday party, guys?
No, absolutely not.
Farthest thing from your birthday party. We're not celebrating Todd's birthday. We are hanging out at the Green Bay Distillery, drinking some alcohol, eating some food, and watching NFL football. Be there.
Yes, be there. We are back. This is the Freezer Podcast. You know where to find Matt and I on our socials. We got Matt X Jensen, Sanjay X Murthy. You can find us on Twitter. You can find our lovely stuff on the Sweep Studios page on Facebook and on Instagram. Check out Sweep Studios. You can find all of our content there. We do also have a market of clothes and memorabilia and things of that nature. So if you want to check our Teespring on there, we will throw in our website, I guess whatever it's called, like the website. I don't even know how to call this, but we'll throw it up at the end of the show. So check it out.
It's
there.
a link.
You can, the link. Thank you. I couldn't even say that word, man. It's a Monday.
It's a Monday, dude. Don't worry about it.
It really is. So check out that. We have a lot of cool stuff like merch and cool shirts that you can check out as far as the Freezer Podcast is concerned, or even Sweep. So thank you so much for that. And everybody, thank you so much for joining in on us. Sorry for any of those gold package members out there that I just basically crapped on. You guys are probably cool people, but you know, it's the collective that I'm a little bit more upset of, that I just think deserve better in that stadium. That's all on those two games. So check us out on that September 19th evening, because you'll see Matt and I there. You'll definitely see Fred as well. And you can come chat with us. You can meet us. You can meet all the other personalities of Game On Wisconsin, and you get to have beer with us, chat some football, chat about life, talk about dogs, make fun of Todd, whatever you want to do. You can check us out there at the distillery, and we'll be there and we'll have a good time. And we'll enjoy a Packer game, the next day, the Monday night home opener. So, anyway,
don't worry, Iowa Joe. We're gonna make people sign waivers when they come in the door because Todd's inside. So you gotta sign.
Probably.
You gotta sign your rights away.
Yeah, and I don't even know what's gonna be. I don't even know what the situation is gonna be like. We gotta talk to Jacob about this, because I don't know if we're gonna have like booths set up. Hey, there's the freezer over there at that tent. We're gonna have this. I doubt it, but I'm just saying.
This isn't podcast con. Okay, it's not the. That's not the floor of the Resch Center. Oh, and the Freezer Podcast is over there.
Yeah, maybe we should. Maybe
you're gonna bedazzle your own booth,
like a Comic-Con, like basically a panel, and then you have your shows, and then you let you know what, Jacob, maybe put that in consideration for he's gonna say no, but still, you know what, that's a pretty great idea actually, because you know what, there's a lot of good shows out there. So yes, Matt, next preseason game, it's the last one, so I don't think anybody's really playing. But what? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, once upon a time, the third preseason game used to be the only one that you looked forward to, because it was the only one worth a damn.
Yes.
But this one's going to be I mean, like you said, I don't think anybody's going to play. They haven't played anybody in the first two. They're definitely not going to play anybody against the Bills being the last preseason game. I mean, you'd be kicking your own ass all season long if you're LaFleur and you put somebody in there and they got hurt, and and then that kind of warped your season. So I expect really to see nobody. The only person that I'm intrigued really in watching would be Jordan Love, because he missed more reps, valuable reps against the Jets. So I'm assuming he'll get out there and probably play, like he did the first game, would have been through the third quarter had he not, hurt his shoulder. So I said on Twitter, I said the Packers are probably going to go 0-3 in preseason. It just doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. They've, more than any other preseason that I've seen, have played nobody who's going to be, a really huge contributor during the preseason. I'm sorry, the regular season. So, which is fine. So really, it's going to be coming down to watching which position battles you want again. Again, how's the O-line look? What's that tight end rotation going to look like? They only dressed 4 receivers last time, so I'd imagine it'll be the same thing. Those guys that are vying for, 5, 6, 7 will be in there. How do they? Yeah, inside linebacker, all those same spots. So I really think it's not going to be a game that's going to be by any means a barn burner, probably a struggle bus session, for both sides. But the main point is to get out clean and healthy, and then you're all eyes on the Saints for week 1.
Yeah, I mean, the battles between like a Keelan Hill and, Dexter Williams, or even what's our other boy's name?
That battle's over.
Oh, you think so? But what about
27? Oh, dude, 30. Hill's on the team. He's
I know
running
he's on
like
the
3.
team. I'm not saying like he wouldn't be on the team. I mean, like I get it. He was drafted. I'm just saying just like the battle in the sense of like, oh, the touches and like just seeing, because like Dexter Williams got more kick returning ability, so like maybe you throw him that maybe a kick return, because Keelan Hill fumbled. So I'm just saying, like we got to find a returner. We can't just keep throwing Amari Rodgers everywhere. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but yes, I think O-line is a big question, because you got to figure out who's your interior, your interior guys, especially while Bach is out, because I think you have a little bit more, certainty at least once he's back, and then who's going to be probably locking those positions. Go ahead. What?
No, I was going to say something else, but finish your point.
Oh, okay. But I think the offensive line, I think that's one thing that I will be looking for, especially not especially like, how well the run game is going or the pass blocking, but also just movement. Do they flow well? Are they causing any penalties? Are they, excuse me, I got something in my throat. Are they causing any silly mistakes? Are they shifting correctly? I mean, things like that. I mean, not that I would ever notice that kind of stuff, because I mean, I'm not a O-line coach, but I think I can notice when someone's making a penalty and having errors and having lapse of judgment and letting guys through. But like, I think that's a big thing, especially with these interior guys, that they have a lot of, as far as a spotlight on them, as far as from scouts and from their coaches, to see who's who's going to be the starter come week 1 against the Saints. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, we didn't really bring it up earlier, but the mystery involving Zadarius Smith, and what's going on with him, because, really when training camp opened, Goody said, well, it's all good. Nothing really. Don't worry about it. It's not anything long-term. We'll flash forward. Here we are. Apparently had some type of setback after only really doing some kind of, minor walkthrough work when he came back to practice. So maybe we watch outside linebacker a little bit more. Obviously, you're not going to see Gary or Preston Smith in there, but some of the other guys who are on the roster, that spot might be a little bit more up for grabs now if Big Z is not able to go, week 1 or that injury prolongs. So something to watch there, and something that I'm curious to see, once the Packers have to start talking about injuries, what really is up with Z.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing, honestly, because if you look at it, and by the way, folks, I do have that link, as Matt was able to help me out here.
Words are hard.
Words are very hard. Wes.
But sometimes tell that story.
Yeah, I shouldn't. But you can find that on the 19th. Maybe I'll tell that story on the 19th. But I'm posting up the links. We have one that's sweep only, or sorry, Freezer podcast only, and we have one that has the sweep and the Freezer podcast stuff. So if you can't click it, I'm sorry, but I think that's the one we have there. Maybe you can just type it in and you can find it on our Teespring website. So check it out if you want any cool stuff. For those of you that do order, something off of there and you bring it on this show and you show it in there, maybe you put a picture on the comments, we'll give you a nice little gift right there. See, incentive to show us some support. Isn't that kind of cool? But yes, Za'Darius is kind of a huge question because he's a pretty big focal point of this defense. I mean, yes, as much hype as we've been putting on Bane Gary over here, I think we need to understand that he can only flourish and do some damage. Not saying he can only, but it helps when you have another guy on the other side that is wreaking havoc and causing, them not to just double team you, right? Because like that was his biggest issue in Michigan. He was the biggest guy, and so they were always double tripling him constantly. And yet, yes, he was able to show a lot of upside, even through that, adversity. But it has also been nice to see Preston and Za'Darius go through their, reign on the league together, and that gives that time for Gary to learn and flourish a little bit more too. So Z not being there, yes, could maybe P handle some some of the workload as the counterpart to Rashawn, sure, but it's not like Z, right? Like Z changes the game in so many different ways. So I really do hope I really do hope that this is kind of like something that is okay. Because Za'Darius did just sign that huge Nike deal. I saw that little picture that he had posted up on his socials. So he's clearly making money somewhere else, and it's clear. And he's obviously wanting more money from the Packers at some point here. So go ahead. Yeah,
I can't imagine he's going to be out very long. I mean, he's up and moving and doing. I mean,
sure,
if you ever had a back injury, man, if it's really bad, you're not up.
The only reason I was saying that is that this whole little injury situation is that because he was out for so long, people are starting to make those rumors like, is he really hurt or is he really just trying to extend his deal that he's a little unhappy about because he did restructure, right? So I think he'll obviously suit up on game one. I think he is a man of the people. I think he is a man of of brotherhood and understand that, look, I want to be out there
with a gamer
with my brothers on the field. But at the same time, man, he's got to also figure out his family and how he supports them. And I'm never a man to question a guy trying to get his own money. So,
Jacob,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, Jacob's on the Bane Gary bandwagon. Like we've been saying for years, man, that give some time. Be patient. Watch out for this guy. And the fire rises this year with Bane Gary. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fireworks. Tune in to
next week. I mean, actually, maybe we should hold. Well, the problem is when Fred comes back, it's gonna be literally week 1. I think that's gonna be week 1 talk. But we could still maybe throw his predictions out there too. But potentially, we'll see how he feels. We'll maybe throw a prediction week next week because obviously now we'll probably know the roster, we'll know the depth chart, and we'll maybe make some preseason, not preseason, but like season debut,
predictions,
because
you have a convenient week. It's like a 2-week break between the end of the preseason and the start of the regular season. So we could talk a little future stuff and not have to just zone in on the Saints.
Right. So, I mean, obviously next week we'll talk about the Bills game. We will obviously talk about probably potential cuts and what we think is going to be the official 52. And then we'll maybe even throw in 53. Sorry, not 52. I was thinking Bane Gary. See, look at that.
On the mind.
So 53-man roster, and we'll even talk about the the practice squad as well. But yeah, the Bills game again. The Bills aren't going to be playing Josh Allen. They ain't going to be playing anybody cool. This isn't Buffalo, right? Like this is not another home game. So
it's Buffalo.
Yeah. So it's going to be on the road. Be good to see how we handle the elements of like a road crowd. Regardless of who the quarterback is and who the offense is, the offensive line understanding that there's a loud crowd and getting Myers into that situation of hearing, screaming defense and like all that stuff. That's huge too. Myers isn't heard a road crowd, right? So go ahead.
Well, I mean, they had to deal with the gold package last game, so they should be ready to go, man. There's nothing that's good.
Shots fired! Oh my gosh, we're gonna end and we're gonna lose all gold package fans on this show. We lost them all.
I kid.
No, you don't. Yeah. So we'll see how Josh Myers handles it, how the other interior guys handle it, how obviously the defense handles now without a couple guys on their squad now. Now this kind of this definitely raised the the level of excitement now for some of the lower guys in the inside linebacker and cornerback room, because they're like, dang, now that's one less dude that I got to worry about to beat. So they're like obviously hyped up, especially going into another game where they can show their talents and make sure that they can make it on this roster, and hopefully JK does something, and hopefully the special teams does something. Because I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a common thing that we're going to say. We should really make a segment. I think that's something here. All my fans, my fans, geez, look at this. All our fans out there for the Freezer podcast, if you have an idea of a segment for special teams every week that the three of us could go over, you put that in, on our Twitter or even in here if you really want to. And maybe we'll create one, because it's just it's a wild, topic to talk about every week. But unless you can think one off the top of your head, Matt.
I have to think about that one. I don't think J.K. Scott deserves that much time on the show. Unless it's really bad, which maybe it will be. Who knows? Maybe
it will be. So yeah, the Bills obviously. Do you have a prediction, or why don't you throw a prediction out here?
I'm not predicting this. Who cares? Here's my prediction. We come out, my hope, we come out clean. No injuries. That's literally the only thing I care about. That's all I care about. I don't care if they lose 50-0. Just no injuries.
All right, my prediction of the game is that J.K. Scott will have 0 good punts.
Yep, there you go. I mean, that's probably a safe bet.
I feel like that was just a horrible thing to say, because now we're going to have to
we need him to be good. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly, because there's no one out
22.
there. Unless there is a punter out there that you guys know. Maybe we can go get him. But with that being said, Matt, you got anything else left you want to talk about?
Oh, good. I'm set, man. I'm
All
scared.
Right. That's Matt. I'm Sanjay. Next week we'll be back. We'll talk about some Bills. But from now on, until then, though, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.